Ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about the RadRunner Plus from RadPowerBikes. So RadPowerBikes does have a RadRunner. This, the RadRunner Plus adds a bunch of extras in there and a different color setup. So obviously the more of these things that you're gonna want and need, you should probably get the Plus over the RadRunner. But sort of let's go through that and let's discuss if that's something you need, and then at the end, we'll see what that means, right? So starting from the front of the bike, you have the suspension forks, which is not on the RadRunner, which is on the Rad Plus. You also have a nicer front headlight. You also have a display, which you do not have in the RadRunner. You have something to change the options, but you don't actually have a display. So the RadRunner Plus does have a display. It does have suspension forks. It also has fenders. Working our way through the bike, you also get a nicer gear set, a Shimano Acera. And then you also get guards for the tires. So if you have a passenger on there, you will, nothing can actually get access to the tires from the back, so no one will get hurt that way. It also comes with the pegs and the back seat. So the more of these things you need, then you should probably get this, right? If you only need a few of these things, but they're kind of a must for you, then maybe you should get it as well, and then all those things will be extras. So let's start with the Shimano Acera gear set. So it's 3 up in the Shimano line, right? But it's also the first gear set in the Shimano line that's somewhat respectable, that just does its job, does a really good job. You don't have to adjust it all year. You could just let it be, and it's just a great gear set. And we're finally starting to see this show up on entry-level bikes. Because anything below that is pretty much a joke, I think. So I was recommending on a lot of these entry-level bikes, just keep it in a single gear. And if you have a throttle, then you're fine. You could just sort of get yourself off the jump, and you can bypass a shitty gear set that way. But the RadRunner Plus has a Shimano Acera. So if you really need the gears, if that's really important to you, then this you can do it on. And so now, great. So definitely, maybe you want to get this bike. If you're definitely going to have a passenger, then you're going to need this, right? So yeah, it comes down to like what's important to you. If you're definitely gonna have a passenger, but you don't need the gear set and you only need the passenger, then maybe just get the RadRunner, add the extra seat on the back with the pegs, and that's all you need. I would keep in mind that if you are getting it for the suspension forks, I'm a believer that for these entry-level bikes, these companies putting suspension forks on these entry-level bikes is just a way of the consumer thinking that they're getting more bang for their buck, right? The customer thinking they're getting more bang for their buck. Because it's really going to be the shittiest suspension fork. It's going to be much heavier. More things can go wrong with it. And also keep in mind, you have a 3.3-inch tire, so in my mind, you don't really need suspension unless you're going over logs and everything. And then even then, why would you want the shittiest suspension on your bike? So I wouldn't even count getting the suspension forks as an upgrade. But if you need the rest, I would do that. So that's for the RadRunner Plus. But here's what's weird about this. So now this bumps you up to 1,700, right? So the interesting part now is that this puts you in a category where you can now consider other bikes. You could easily get a juice bike. You could easily look into the Super 73s now, which are super stylish. So it's kind of like a weird thing. Like, yeah, you'll get more bike and maybe you need all those things, but now maybe you can get bounce to a different company. Or for, 800 more, maybe you can go to get just a bike better quality, But the one thing that RadPowerBikes does have, they do have good customer service, which is really important. I don't know if we could say that about Juiced or about the Super 73s. So that's something to consider also. So I think that's it. These are my first impressions of the RadRunner Plus. I think I covered everything. If you need those upgrades, then definitely go for it. don't include these suspension forks. It's not worth it. But also, if you are going for it, you might want to check out those other bikes as well. And RadRunner does have good customer service, so something to think about as well. I'm saying and as well way too many times. So that is it, everyone. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, put them down below. I'll answer them there, or I'll just bring it up in another video. This has been my first impressions of the RadRunner Plus by RadPowerBikes.